Plant friends, my name is Victoria and you're watching Plantastics. Today I'm going to be telling you all about one of my favorite plants, and that is what I'm holding right here. It is a hellebore and it is beautiful. It is so beautiful. It's got these dark red leaves, and I'm just going to tell you about hellebores. Now, this isn't a house plant, but that doesn't mean you can't love it. Maybe you could grow it indoors. I've never tried, but I love these because they're normally $40 in my area, and plant prices are completely dependent on your area, believe it or not. In the South, we really don't have these because these tend to like colder temperatures, but I've had a pair of them that I've had growing for 2 years and they've done really well. So I got these two kind of as an impulse, but also because spring is about to be here and I don't have any color, so this is going to provide some really great color. So let's talk about them, shall we? So hellebores are really nice because they don't care if it's cold and they like shade. So this one specifically is by the company Hellebores Gold Collection. It is, yeah, that's what the tag says. And it is Ice and Roses Red. And if you look on the back, it basically says unlicensed propagation is prohibited. So I'm wondering if they have some kind of a patent on this specific variety. I have no idea. But basically they're really nice. They are very low maintenance. So I have this one side of my back porch where I have nothing that will grow. It doesn't get enough light. It gets some morning sun. And it's kind of wet over there. Like it's kind of moist. So I have two of them and I'll show you, and they do really well. So these are going to be planted on kind of like another side of my porch that also doesn't get a lot of sun, where I have some ferns. And I'm going to take you on basically like a little stroll in my backyard to kind of show you what they look like at the end of this. But yeah, so they're just so beautiful. They're so unique. So this one's very goth looking. It's got this dark coloration. And, you know, I'm showing you the flowers. The leaves look like kind of like umbrellas to me. Are they not so cool? They're just so unusual. I'm not really sure what genus they're a part of, but they're just so unusual. And because they're so unusual, I love them. So I just figured I'd hop on and show you this. I also have another plant that is really cool looking that I'd never seen before. And I'm going to show it to you as well. So this is really nice looking. I don't know much about it, but apparently it's some type of a fern. And it's got this beautiful coloration. It looks like rosebuds to me, and that's why I purchased it. It was in there with the begonias, and I've had it for probably 2 or 3 weeks. So let's go to my backyard, shall we? I've got lots of bulbs planted. I'm also going to show you some of my violets. Look at that. And of course, you're going to want to know who this is, so let me tell you. It is Rozovaya Agvarel, and it's a Russian-Ukrainian hybrid. So huge. Absolutely huge. Huge flowers. So I planted 150 flower bulbs in my backyard. I kind of just want to show you how they're all popping up. And I'll also show you my hellebores that I have basically from last year. So let's go. Okay, so I just repotted a ton of orchids. And by a ton, I mean all of them. They're over here now. We redid this. And it's really pretty to me. I love it. And yeah, so everything's restained. And a lot of my plants are outside. The lows are in the 40s, so they should be good. Like last night, the low was in the like 45 or something. So a lot of plants got moved outside. So we've got this beautiful primrose here. This cactus is about to bloom. Everybody's happy. This needs to be repotted. This is a euphorbia and it's blooming. This is my sad little euphorbia obesa that got sunburnt. But you know what? She's living life, and it is a girl. So let's go back to see some of the other things. This thing is exploded over the winter, which is very surprising. Here are some of my other cacti. Here's my jasmine, and it makes my back porch smell literally so amazing. I got it for Valentine's Day, and it just started opening, so I kind of just repotted it. So the hellebores are probably going to go right in here. I know I need to weed. Look how beautiful this fern is. It's got all these new growths. And I'm going to release some more praying mantises. I really love doing that. Last year they were so precious and they loved to just hang out right here. So I just stepped in a hole. Here's my disco ball because we need the vibes, am I right? So these are the two Hellebores that I've had out here for 2 years. So you can kind of see that this is like a space that's under the awning. So water doesn't fall in it directly, so it's not exactly waterlogged, but it's still kind of moist. I wouldn't say it's wet. And we're fixing to add a bunch of French drains, so just to help whenever there's like a flash flood. This one's unique, and I don't remember its name. I was hoping I'd left a label out here, but you can see this one has pretty simple flowers, which I'll show you. But the foliage on this one is what's remarkable. So it's got this dark burgundy veining in the center, and then it's got this beautiful almost snakeskin looking pattern. And this one just gets a little bit less light. Now I do fertilize these, and you can see that one's got more flowers. So this one gets less light, but its foliage is prettier. But this one's got prettier flowers. And there's one down here that's opening, and I actually saw some of these in a bridal bouquet, so I was kind of curious, like, you know, maybe they were having a winter wedding or something. But yeah, look at that. And I believe that's a male flower, or it could be female. They're kind of like begonias where the flowers are different. Now euphorbias are weird because they are kind of like nepenthes, and they kind of have, each plant's its own gender. But this one's really pretty. It's like this beautiful green, like a pink color. Okay, so let's go out. So I planted 150 flower bulbs, and squirrels have been ravaging my hyacinths. See, this is what they do to them. Isn't it sad? Isn't it sad? They eat them. They must be delicious because they've eaten every single one of them. So all of these daffodils and narcissus are resistant. They are not fun to eat to squirrels and deer, so nobody's bothered them. But yeah, you can see they just eat the flower right out. And there are some places where they dug the entire bulb out. So you can see here, they dug out the entire bulb. I planted them deeper than what was suggested simply because in June we will be cutting our yard. I also planted some crocuses, and I was hoping I could find them. Here's some of them. But yeah, I used this method where you basically just take them in a big bucket, all the bulbs, and you kind of just toss them on the ground, and then you plant them where they fall so it looks natural instead of looking really mechanical and planned. So you can kind of see where the handfuls were. I'd kind of throw a handful there or there. Here I have this really beautiful phlox. Phlox is a really great plant, and you can see, I'll point them out further. My dahlias are coming up. So normally I bring my dahlias inside and store them in my garage, but this year things were really crazy and I wasn't able to do that. And I'm really happy to see that they didn't freeze. We did have a freeze. We had sleet that stuck for several days, and you know what? It didn't matter because all of them are coming back up. Aren't they beautiful? Oh my god. So this is the coolest thing I added last year. It's just a little water feature with a solar fountain, and all the squirrels and cardinals and just like all the flickers, which is a type of bird, they love it. They come and they drink. And I put these in, and I use wire. I used string last year, but this year I'm going to use wire. And you can kind of see the string left over. And I tied it so that way my dahlias would stay in because they get so heavy. I also had cosmos that were like 6 and 7 feet tall, and they just kind of fell out. So here are some. See, these are going to open very soon. Something's decided to take a bite. So you can kind of see. Isn't that exciting? I love spring. It's one of my favorite times of the year. All the spring and fall. That is beautiful, and it smells so good. Now, I'm not sure which variety these are. I purchased all of these from Longfield Garden and Lowe's. Let's see these beauties. So I put these out here last year around this time, and I had fewer of them, but pretty much they bloomed for me. Now this big bad boy, I had to repot. It had 3 flower stalks and it still has 1. You can see it in there. That's a flower stalk. It had some pretty bad, it was really root bound, so I repotted it even though that's not what you're supposed to do, and I cut the flower stalks off. These are some tuber begonias, so they'll have these huge double to triple blooms. Here are my cattleyas. We had a huge hailstorm last year, and it really damaged my cattleya that I had. I had 1 cattleya, and it ended up just not making it because something ate it. I had it like in a weird area, and I think it was slugs. These are kind of out in the open, but I plan on trying to hang this somehow underneath here and supporting it somehow, because this thing's kind of holding up as much weight as it can. But this is to protect it from the hail, because the Miltoniopsis seems like the leaves are more flexible, so if something hits it, they kind of fall. Whereas the cattleyas, they don't have that bounce to them. They're more firm and rigid. You can see I've got a lot of new growth there. That's going to be for French strains. And I don't know if you remember, but I had a water collection system. We had a hard time with the water. It just kept getting really stagnant and stinky. So we kind of just like dismantled it, but we're thinking about bringing it back. So you can see the barrels there. We painted that one white to try to cut down on the smells. So here, my Sarracenia. It looks really bad because it's waking up. It's gotten a little bit of frostbite. Oh my god, look, a flower. Look at that, look at that, look at that. I'm not gonna mess it up, I promise. Okay, look, that's a flower. My Sarracenia's never bloomed before. Here is my, it's all crunchy, Venus flytrap waking up. I left them outside this year. Here are some of my dahlias. I planted them in here because I didn't know that those were going to come up. And this is Kelvin Floodlight, and I labeled them this year so I can remember who's who. And then I have another one. So this one's going to be yellow. And then I think this one's Pretty Lace. No, Pretty Lucy. I forgot. So this is my peony. And I've got my rosemary and my roses. This one's funny. It's like that hellebore. It has a tag that basically says, "Do not propagate. You'll go to jail." So obviously, I don't even know how to propagate a rose, so I haven't done that. I've been training these. I don't know if they're good or not. You can make fun of me if you want. I was trying to make that one look like an S. And I was trying to make this one look like those bonsais that kind of like slope down. There's a peony in here too. I put the label on it. It's the Emile Debante or Debante. You choose. So everybody's outside. I moved a lot of things outside, and I did that to try to kind of like acclimate them, because the cacti especially like to be acclimated. If I put them outside like I did that poor euphorbia last year, they just kind of get toasted. So trying to save them this year. Now is everything everybody's been asking about, and it's the living wall, which I'm still working on. Putting the clips together for it. It does need more light at the top. I've tried to move some of the plants down. So it does have a water reservoir, and I have it empty right now, and I'm fixing to continue emptying it out simply because the water does get stagnant. And I do plan on keeping it inside because a lot of these are some of my more fancy plants. And I don't know if you know this, if you've been following me for a while, you probably do, but when I put some of the plants outside, like this Warquinum or any of the alocasias, they will get eaten alive by spider mites. So to just avoid that entirely, everything that goes outside is something that normally doesn't get spider mites. So just going to kind of show you what is all going on. So obviously a Maranta is going to be great. I call this my dancing wall because I've tried to add as many Tenanthes and Marantas and Stramanthes in. And I do that because I like the way it moves. I've done a time lapse or two, so I'll try to attach that. This is my Billy. It was literally the tiniest little plant. Look at it now, it's huge. It is literally huge. So I added a lot of anthuriums on here, and I've got begonias as well. You can see my Nepenthes, Gaia, or Gaia. It's just living life. And it's like really happy. And you can see I've got a goldfish plant or a lipstick plant here. And I'm hoping that it will bloom. I think it's in the Gesnerad family. I've got my anthuriums. And they seem to be putting out new leaves since I've had them here. Everybody's been here since January. So this is another inflow on the Luxuriance Radicans cross. I also have this beautiful... it's annoyed. They sold it to me. They said it was a Doc Block crossed with a Magnificum, and I can kind of believe that because the leaves are getting really large. This leaf got really banged up because as it was forming, I was like moving it around and putting it in different places, trying to figure out where it should go. So the next leaf will look normal and not bruised. Now this is a Zara. This was a real gamble. It was just a seed, and I was just confidently trusting that they were going to send me a Zara. This is the only gambling that I do. I do buy seeds. Here's another one, and this one is labeled. So there were 3 seeds with this order, and this is the only one that lived. The other 2, sometimes you'll get a dud, and I got 2 out of 3 duds. So this is a Forgetty Eye Dark Form cross with SKG Silver, and this is a very excellent grower for me. It actually is dividing. It's got 2 separate plants. So you can see there's a new leaf. I'm not going to touch it because it'll bruise it. And then you can see there's another new leaf there. I have this beautiful Black Mamba begonia I've wanted so long. I've got several different peperomias. Or Phoetonias. Yeah, the nerve plant, Phoetonia. This is one. And I don't know their specific names. They kind of just came from Lowe's. In the like $5 or $6 section. With inflation, everything keeps going up. So here's another one. These pockets are larger, and these are all the same size. So I'm able to put a lot of the larger plants on this side, and it does flow. So if we go onto the back, I'm going to show you. Isn't that beautiful? So I have 2 Warwicklinums on here. So this is, I believe, Stella. So I had Stella and White Fusion, and they got completely obliterated by spider mites because I put them outside. So I took little chunks and planted them in random pots. And I have a Stella. I lost my White Fusion. So here's this beautiful begonia. This is the most beautiful begonia I've ever seen. It actually came from Linden Lion. And look at them. Look at them. They're so bright red. They're so fluffy. They feel like a bunny rabbit or like puppy or kitten fur. This took forever, okay? And I want you to understand that this was trial and error for me. So you're probably wondering what these wood chunks are. There are hooks, and I'll show you on the other side before I come back here and talk about all the stuff that I hooked up. So these are the hooks that I have, and I have those, and I have one of them being used, or 2 of them, for things like this. So this thing would just flop forward, and you need everything going vertically up and not kind of leaning out because the water will touch the leaves and you'll get a lot of spillage. And the way that I have everything set up right now, everything drips down, goes into the gutter, and flows back. And I have a very powerful pump because it actually has to go 6.5 feet up into the air. So through trial and error, we learned that I needed a really strong pump. So it is a pond pump, so it's made to get some debris in there. A lot of people were, you know, commenting their concerns because, you know, very few people want to take a risk and try to do something like this because it is kind of an investment and it might not work out. So that's what these blocks are for. These are to hold the hooks. There was no other way I could attach it that I could think of. So we've got this pump. It splits into 2. So we have this one loop that goes and it just funnels the top. Now if you wanted to keep it simple, so simple and so stupid easy, what you could do is you could ideally just run a water line to the top or to the middle. Now, what you could do is, a lot of people have had living walls. I've been watching the videos for years, and a lot of people are always like, oh, you know, cool, you want to do a living wall where you're going to have lots of plants that like to be waterlogged. Well, that's not the case. If you set it up in such a way, so what you can do is you can have a water line kind of like halfway through, if that makes sense. So instead of having water lines going to every single pocket, you could have one going in the middle through, and that one runs always, and then have a second pump and a second separate line that runs up. And you could literally have a Hoya wall, and you would water it very seldomly. So in the future, I might be doing that. Now, this was kind of an investment to build, so I'm going to wait on making another wall. And it has wheels, so it can roll. So when I go to move, I just literally will roll on out. And hopefully I'll be moving, if I do move, anytime soon in the spring or in the fall, so that way I don't have to worry about these getting cooked. Because I've been growing this collection for probably since like 2018, and I'd hate to lose any of these, especially the ones I grew from seed, because if you've grown anything from seed, you know kind of how like stressful it is. So yeah, so you could do that. So I'm just trying to give people ideas. I would love to see more people make living walls. I know that the plant fad or whatever has kind of died out, but there's some of us that are really hardcore that are still making and building things, and it's really great to gain inspiration from other creators. So this is what I've built. So I have a lot of epiphytic things. So I've got Christmas cacti, I've got my Easter cactus there, and I have moved a lot of things down so it can get more light. I'm working on finding a spotlight or something to put this bulb in, so I can kind of just shine it in the middle towards the top where these Barrina light tubes are not reaching. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, this is my propagation room. It looks very different because everything's outside. What I like to do is, so the Miltoniopsis will be outside, but they do not stay outside because it's too hot for them. So they will come in June, and they'll come back and they'll go back into one of these bins. So what I get a chance to do is I get a chance to kind of clean everything out, which I've taken all the plants out, and next is going to be just cleaning and washing everything. This is my basil I use for my eggs. And here are some propagations that I have. I really need to water this planifolia because she is dry. She's not in a detrimental state yet, but she will be. So I do have some African violet leaf cuttings that I'm propagating. I also have some Transdentia, and it's the small kind that turns pink. It stays petite. I found one cutting on the floor at Lowe's, and what I did was I took it and I just keep pinching off a piece and putting it in another division. So let's see. So there's no heat and mat on this. African violet propagations don't like that. I experimented with that to my detriment and lost a lot of things. It causes them to rot, so just don't do it. This is some seeds. These are some seeds that are not houseplants. So I've got some different plants and whatnot. I've got some sweet peas. Let's see, this one's kind of towards the top. Let's see if it's sprouted yet. No. Sweet peas get 6 feet tall. I didn't realize that, but it's okay because I think when it gets really hot they'll die back. So I've got some sweet peas and some other things. I was kind of bad here and didn't label them, so it'll be a fun surprise to figure out what all I put in there, but I'm pretty sure it's sweet peas. I know it's sweet peas and I don't know what else it is. So here are some more plants that I have. I'm redoing my front flower bed and putting in irrigation. This is just dead stuff. This is where things go to die, as you know. And I have this really weird problem I'm having with my violets, so I have them bagged. These are two of my favorites. I've got Cranberry Sparkler, or Buckeye Cranberry Sparkler, and I've got Lesno Crescevo. Let's see if I can open it and show it to you. I'm gonna have to put down the camera. Whatever it is not mites, okay? So what I've done as an experiment is I've taken them and I've bagged them so they're getting less light. There's some type of a fungus that is attacking the crowns of my violets. It is not mites, because it doesn't grow like mites. You see that? So it turns white and fuzzy, and then the center dies. And I'll show you one that recovered and what it looks like, so you can kind of see. This one's actually not. So my hope with this and what's going well so far is I didn't want the crowns to die. So they're not dying. They're doing okay. So they're fighting off whatever they had. If you know what it is, let me know, because I'm clueless and it's a problem I keep running into. Like, it's very frustrating because, like, I've lost a lot of violets. Now, I did have some that I treated that I still ended up losing to mites, but they were quarantined and they've all been tossed now. So these are some of them. Let me move this scent thing here. So this one is an example of one that had the fungus and it lived. So the very center died, so you can see it there. And now I have all these pups shooting out from the side, but you can see the center's dead. Like, the very center of the plant died. And you can see it happened here too with little Sonia. So it's a fungus, it like attacks it, but I'm hoping that I found a cure with those two that I isolated and whatnot. It's already dead, so it's like, the plant's not dead, it'll have pups, it'll be fine. And I'm not doing any trades with anyone. I'm buying leaf cuttings, but until I know what's going on, I'm gonna kind of wait it out. So these were 2 leaves that I took and grew into propagations whenever I had mites. And the way I treated them was I took the leaves that I had, I put them in a Ziploc bag of water in a Ziploc and put them in this large kettle that I have. And then I have this thing I put in there, and I set the temperature to 110 degrees, and I did it for like 20 minutes. It said to only do it for 10 minutes in the Grow and to Show book, but I was like, burn it all down. And they are mite free. So these were grown from a leaf, and these are doing great. This is my favorite violet of all time. Okay, this is my favorite of all time. I love it so much, and I'm so happy I have it. I have 4 propagations. 4 little babies came from 1 leaf, and this is the only one that's alive. So I'm probably going to take one of these leaves next time I groom it and propagate it, because I just love it so much. So this is a little terrarium. So when you have baby violets, they're very sensitive to light and their crowns can get really tight. So what I like to do is I like to close it. The moisture creates like a mist on the glass, and it prevents the light from being so strong, and the humidity helps loosen their crowns. So that's what this is for. And you can see that I used silicone. I did a bead of silicone the whole way around. So I do water them in here, and I plant them in here, so you can kind of see there's little water stains. This is Louisiana Lullaby, and I saved this one as well, and it's beautiful. It has this beautiful lilac and dark colored purple flowers. So yeah, so I'm kind of rambling at this point, but yeah, these are a lot of my plants, and I'm just going to show you, since I've already showed you my yard. Hi, it's me. These are balloons left over from Valentine's Day. This was supposed to be a regale. As you can see, it's not a regale. And I have a time lapse, so I'm not going to open it and kind of show you closer. I reached out to the seller, and he said it's a Medusa. You can see it kind of looks like a hand. It looks really, really wicked. Unlike anything I've ever seen. So I repotted this, and I did that yesterday, so it's not like I can see a change yet. And then look at these. This is my favorite plant. Oh my god, isn't it beautiful? It's just gorgeous. So gorgeous. Got a little too much sun getting there. And then I was going to chop it up, and you can see some roots there, but there's just not enough yet. This is air layering. It's basically just a thing, and then I pin it with these floral pins so it doesn't like tear off the, put too much weight on the vine. And what I plan on doing it is adding it to the living wall, because we can never have too many plants on there, and that would add a really nice texture and something kind of trailing up. So anyways, thank you so much for coming on this wild ride of kind of like a vlog style video. Yeah, I'm taking a very important exam in July, so I'm kind of preparing for that, and I'm graduating in May. So enjoy the videos I do post, because I'm going to be kind of inconsistent until I get through these next big life events, and I'm getting married in September. So there's lots of great things coming on. Thank you guys so much for all the likes you leave on my videos and all the comments and everything. It really brings a smile to my face, and we could all use more smiles. So if you'd like to see more videos like this, be sure to like it. Do you have a favorite video? Be sure, or a favorite plant or whatever, or video suggestions, be sure to comment those. If you'd like to see more of me and my plants, be sure to subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you never miss me randomly posting a video. And I'll be seeing you next time. Goodbye.